Welcome to Just Minded My Business Media LLC, where you get information that you can use. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. But before we dive in, subscribe to Just Minded My Business on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Share Just Minded My Business with your family, friends, and colleagues. Engage with us by leaving a review or comment. Your support keeps this podcast going and growing. Visit our website at jmmbmediallc.com to learn how we can support you in getting more visibility on your products and services. So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use. Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media LLC. We are so happy that you joined us. And as always, this is where you get information that you can use. So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use. Wow, I am so happy to bring to Just Minding My Business Ferdinand Mehllinger, a foundational member of the original Backrub team that later evolved into Google, who's notable for his expertise in data structuring and algorithm development. Wow. So I didn't even know Google's old name was Backrub, so I'm learning something myself.
Yeah, it was Backrub has to do with backlinks, so that's kind of what that all kind of stemmed from. So yeah, it wasn't anything like Google, but it was fun. Bunch of nerdy kids just building stuff.
Yeah, isn't that always the case? And it's fun when it's like that. Absolutely.
Absolutely right.
Yes, yes. So when you worked at Backrub, which is now Google, how was that experience for you since we started there?
Yeah, it was again, we were kids. It wasn't really anything like it was more like a job. You were just I had always been into computers. My real dad worked for I think it was called JPL. It was a like a space program thing that he was involved with. So he always came home with like computers and stuff, and I would break into the computers and I get in trouble because he was a typical black dad. So I was getting beatings. Um, but I like that. I love technology. So when I was over at Google, it was just more of like I just felt kind of at home. We were just trying to build. It was the internet. Back then, it was the AOL CDs that were being passed out everywhere. It was Lycos and all these different things. The internet was just being developed, so we were just trying to bring in information that was more relevant for searches. So that was just structuring and making sure that when someone put in a certain query that a certain result came back. And then over the years, it's just become more evolved, advanced, and effective in a sense.
Yes, absolutely. And now with AI, it's on.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yes, today must be AI day. Uh,
Yeah.
I've been talking about AI all day. So tell me what your plans are in terms of what you do with AI.
Well, I'm on a team that we just launched the first AI stock trading assistant. So it's based off of behavioral signals instead of buy and sell signals. So it basically goes out and looks at the history of the stock market, looks at the behavioral signals of um, traders, and then reacts off of that with an algorithm that's artificial intelligence, and then it's always going to be faster than a human. It's always going to be quicker and more efficient. So AI, that's one thing that I'm using with AI, but I use AI kind of every day in everyday business to where maybe it helps you write emails, maybe it helps you organize a spreadsheet, maybe it's helping you to kind of write your content. So it's just a matter of how you're using it and which AI program you want to use, because you have, your chat GPT, and everybody's familiar with that. But then there's well, it's now Gemini, but it used to be Google Bard. And that one actually goes and accesses the internet, where ChatGPT doesn't. It does it more off of mathematical equations. So you'll get a different result.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to just play around with them and see what language learning model, these models I can use best. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I use them for.
Yes, yes, indeed. It's like I've been in the field for a long time too. Um, Actually over 30 years, went back when it was mainframe. So
Oh, wow. So
yeah, I do. I do. And right now I'm loving AI in terms of how it can support you in your business and take so much time out of, with you trying to do things, it just lessens the time tremendously,
Absolutely.
tremendously.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what are you doing right now? Tell me what you're doing into right now.
So right now, like, we just launched that AI stock trading platform. That's one thing that I have. I have e-commerce stores that that's kind of like my bread and butter. I have like 6 e-commerce stores for within the health and fitness, biotech, chemical industry. And then I am developing a pet product right now that is in the plastic molding stage.
Okay.
Um, so I'm getting ready to do that to where that's going to then be fulfilled by Amazon. So I'll have the fulfillment by Amazon. So we'll ship that off, and then that'll now be a product on Amazon. So we'll have a new pet store. I think we're going to be calling it. I think we've got the name, which is Scruffy and Tink.
Oh,
So that's going to be our, and it's going to be some pretty. There's nothing. I've been researching this industry, which I think is this is kind of a hint if anybody's ever looking for one, but always try to find a problem and then solve it. Don't look for the money, but just find a problem and then solve it. And that's what I'm doing with this. I've been researching it for the past 6.5, 7 years, and there's never been this type of product that's been put into this industry, but yet it's one of the most recession-proof industries out there. It's just like babies and kids. So you just got to find those problems and solve it. And this, I think, will be that perfect hygienically for pets. This is the perfect product. So just trying to get it molded, and then we'll see if we're going to get it patented after that, and if it makes sense to patent it, for the cost. But that's kind of what I'm up to, and just got a new house. So I'm loving that.
yes, yes, indeed. Wow. So you busy. So when that launches, you're gonna have to come back so we can
Yeah,
talk about it for sure.
absolutely. I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. I got to get the data down though. I want to make sure I'm very efficient in how I from working from, Google when we were at Backrub. You just want to be efficient in what you're doing out there. So
Yeah.
once the data comes in and I see that, the angle of everything of what we're doing with it, the length, the spread, once all that comes in, then I'll be like, okay, we're good. This is a winner right here.
All righty now. Definitely want to be not definitely want to be there when that happens.
I'd love to.
So your work with the data structuring and algorithm development.
Yes.
I'm sure you use that in probably everything you do. Be-
In a sense, yeah, yeah. I think it's kind of by default. I don't have a way of not doing it. So my
Right.
mind kind of builds things that way. So it's just it's a chain and a filing system. So I don't think any other, I mean, it's really weird. Um, Maybe some other people think that way, but yeah, my mind thinks in like a chain and then file and then categorization and then so it's kind of like a mind map. It's kind
Yeah,
of
and I
weird.
understand you because I
Okay.
like being in the field for all my life, you might as well say. I think that way too. Everything.
Good. I'm glad okay, that's good. I'm glad I figured you would, being with what you did. I was like, okay, you probably get what I'm saying. I don't sound
Yes.
like a weirdo.
No, you don't sound like a wood weirdo, and anybody else that's in the field, they know
Right.
you're structured. You do things a certain way, and it makes sense
Yes.
for in your brain, and it's just the way you do things. and you apply that to everything you do. You know what I'm saying? Not just the technology piece of it, but down to, I mean, I'm the type of person, when I'm at the market, I'm planning dinners, I'm planning meals, you know,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I do that from planning out. It's really, I mean, it's pretty bad, but like from planning outfits to fragrances to,
yes.
it's everything is, hats to out. Everything is like it's got its own chain of command, that connects, that matches, and that has, it's just,
I
it's really
know,
weird.
I
Yeah, yeah.
know. And it makes our lives so much easier.
It does, but people think we're crazy.
That's okay. I can be all of that.
And me too. I like it. I'm like, I'm not normal.
Hey, computer people don't think the same as other people. They just don't think like that. Your
As the
brain
kids
is
say nowadays, we're
a
built
different
different.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, even down to my filing system. It's like I have folders. I
Yep.
name my files like sentences
Yeah.
because what I've noticed, if I need to find something a year, 2 years from now, I know what I'm looking for. So if I just put that in, I know I named it something close to that,
Exactly.
and it
Yes.
pops right up.
Yep. I'm the same. I do that with even with people that I meet. I categorize them with either the association or where I met them at so that I know when I talk to them later, it's like, okay, I met you on the plane, or I met you at a function, or I met you at this meeting. I think it just helps us with our categorization. That's the way I look at it. It's like, okay, at least I know with what category this is in, the date that it
Yeah,
happened, where it happened at, and who it happened with.
yeah,
That way it makes me, that funny that you say that now. When I remember growing up, that my parents would always say to me, there was like the five W's: who, what, where, when, and why.
yes. That's how we were taught.
Yes,
English class, writing. You
yes,
That has always been the way it is. You have to know
yep.
everything from that angle.
You're right. You're right. 100%. Never thought about that until now. That who, what, where, when, why. That was always asked, those W's.
Yes, yes, yes. That's weird, isn't it? We
Yeah,
say,
I never thought about that before.
yeah, but it's the truth. It's the truth, and it's helped me from throughout my life. So,
Well, I
I
think we're part of that older generation too. I think, we're kind of we came from a different time of life when things were a lot different when we were
yes,
growing up.
but they still relevant,
Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
still relevant. I don't
Yes.
care how much bells and whistles you put on it, it's still the basic. It's
Yep.
still there, just like all those years. And I'm not sure now, but DOS was the underwriting program for everything.
You're right. That's right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And then but still, even today, but it's based off of things are based off of that.
Yes,
That was a very effective programming system. So it's things will get better and things will be more advanced. But I think it's still that foundational, uh, basically just the
yes,
foundation of it that can just be built off of, like a house in a sense.
yes, yes. I mean, because it worked. It wasn't
Yep.
never broke, that's for sure.
It don't, yeah, you don't got to fix it. Just you can add to it, but you don't got to fix it.
For sure, for sure. Wow. It's good to talk to somebody that actually you click with and you kind of got
Yes.
the same.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate this time with you.
Yes, yes, indeed. So, your biggest learning experience, and let's talk about in the past year. I know I got some.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're always learning, right? The biggest learning, what? I think the biggest learning experience I had last year was I needed to you get into a certain phase when you get to a certain like wealth status to where it kind of gets almost kind of like a stagnation. And I ventured out last year to different groups, mastermind groups of high earners. And what I learned was I it pays to pay for your friends. because they're at a higher level than you and they're earning more than you. So that keeps you all of my guys, all my boys that I've met there, that everybody keeps me in check because my numbers were so small that I thought they were big. But then I got around, these groups of newfound friends, and it wasn't like I found them at a dinner. It was more like I joined a tax write-off too for businesses that you can always tell your CPA, this is your learning, so this is your education. So, I joined these groups and having the experiences with them and the speakers that are brought in, that really expanded that's how this whole pet product came about, because I was like, I'm sitting here stagnant, wasting 12 hours of the day that I could be developing something that's going to benefit my son and generational wealth. So that was my biggest lesson was, paying for friends is a smart move. I know it sounds funny, but you're not going to find a friend that is earning that much unless you live in certain places. And I like to live kind of remotely. So, um, and I'm not very, what's the word that I'm looking for? I'm not that open when I meet people because I don't know what their intention is.
Right.
Um, but when you pay for your friends, everybody's paid to be there. They've invested a good amount of money to be there. So the openness and the qualification and the validation of everybody there was such a great experience that I've now joined more mastermind groups to grow myself. So that was kind of my biggest learning experience last year.
Yeah. So the products that you currently offer, can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, we have, these are like for like some scientists and for schools, and scientific development for our research chemicals, biotech stuff that we have that for my fitness influencers, that we have. Some of them are nootropics and peptides that we have, that we're venturing into. The more of this wasn't such of an interest of like, this is what I do and what I like to do. It was more of margins. So I saw the margins on this and I was like, okay, this is a great vertical to get into. So for the last 4 years, I've been like in the biotech and supplements and, um, chemical industry because the margins are so great.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's my bread and butter that I don't really, it's really weird that all of our customers on that end are very, it's kind of like a cultish, like they just kind of, it's like it's like a bodybuilding industry. So
Okay.
they're all part of their own cult, or I shouldn't say cult, maybe following. I think cult maybe is negative. Um, but they're, their own following. So but it's an interesting following because when we went through COVID, we were thinking we were going to have to shut down. Like we were like, okay, people are not going to spend the money because they don't have it anymore. But business quadrupled. Like we grew
Wow.
insane over COVID. We opened up 3 new offices and an international office. So, um, yeah, that one, it's weird. I don't even, that's kind of like, that makes money while I sleep. We front loaded it so much, then we put so much work into it, and we bought the forums, which was the narrative that controlled the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So when people would go to research certain information about what they should be using or taking, we bought those forums so that we could control that narrative so that we could now have those now turn into customers. So it's kind of an ecosystem, that we
Okay.
learned, but that's my kind of my, I guess they call it mailbox money. It just kind of comes, you just don't do anything. And so that allows me to do other things. So I don't even really have to promote it really anymore. But yeah, that's kind of that's the e-commerce side of business. I had like some other products and stuff too, but I got hit by Disney for some like, I was infringing upon their trademark, so I had to shut that down because I'd made some fidget spinners.
Yeah, you know how that
They,
goes.
they came after me, so I'm like, all right, shut down. I made my money while
Yeah,
I could.
right. I
Yeah.
understand that. So if people want to connect with you, how do they do so?
My name, ferdinand-mehl.com. That's pretty much the easiest way to find me. I'm kind of everywhere. I'm doing a lot of volunteering now. I just joined a nonprofit called Youth Champions, which is helping kids in high school that are trying to get into college, but they're more from a struggling way of life, you know. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to do my best to help those kids out and start scholarships and help them start with school and get a better mindset so that they know when they get to college, this is how you handle it and this is what you need to do with your life. So yeah, ferdinand-mehl.com is probably the best way to get in touch with me. That's where I'm at all the time.
Okay, yes, I like the nonprofit stuff.
You have to give back. You know, you get to a certain point in life to where it's like, what am I doing with my time? And, you know, I truly believe in karma. So if I can give back, you know, each one teach one, you know how it goes. So it's, and kids are our future, as cheesy as that sounds, and you know, like Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston would say, but you know, that's our, they are there, that's what we depend on. And if I can help contribute to their building of their mindset, because that's what I did to build all my wealth. It was just in my mind. Then maybe they can have the same type of results, and then we can have a better world. So that's what I'm trying to. That was, you know what, that was another thing too. From being a part of those masterminds, paying for my friends, I realized that in those groups that these guys that were making so much money, all they wanted to do was benefit the world.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that was very clear to me when I joined these masterminds was you've got to give back. You can't just go and make a bunch of money and then not give anything back. So that all this kind of stemmed from those mastermind meetings because I wasn't really giving it any thought. I think I was kind of being selfish prior. But now it's more of I'm volunteering my time, making sure I'm putting in the effort, putting in the money,
Mm-hmm.
because why wouldn't I? It doesn't make any sense to not do it. So that's kind of it. No, that was kind of a long-winded answer.
That's fine. We just kicking it right now.
You're just kicking it. Right, right, right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're
I
supposed
truly
to help.
believe that. We
Yeah,
need that. We need that. You know, especially in our community, we need that. We really do.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. So people, one of the terms that you used was, I think you said linear. What did you say? Oh God, it's right on the tip of my tongue and just flew off.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure
In
it'll come
terms of
back.
streams of income, but I forget the term that
Yeah.
you
Okay.
used.
So, my streams of the reason I have so many streams of income just to kind of diversify, was just because I had a seven-figure loss and and that was all because I had everything in one basket. And
Mm-hmm.
and it hit and we got hit, it was like, what do I do now? I had to start over again. So, and that rebuild, and that was like 7, 8 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And that rebuilding of that process, it was like, okay, let's diversify and protect ourselves. So that's why I have so many different e-commerce stores and I'm involved in so many different verticals and I'm
That's
trying
the
to
word, verticals.
verticals. Yeah. Oh yeah. So the verticals, I talk about verticals as different businesses because I look at the business as a vertical platform, so where we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I don't want anything to lose. And granted, when you're building, you're going to lose. I mean, that happens. You just got to get used to it. You just got to know how to come back and to notice it and to look at that data and then be like, okay, this is how this came about. Let's, you know, tie up those patches around there and make sure that this doesn't happen again. But that's all that filing and categorization that you're looking at when you look at the data. So now you can kind of apply it to that. But yeah, verticals are very, I think, important for diversification because you got to look at what vertical you want to get into. So is it going to be like I got into biotech, I got into health and fitness, now into the pet industry, chemical industry. So that was those verticals are very promising when they're growing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've had people ask me about, you know, what verticals sometimes they should get into, and I think it all resonates of what you feel is going to be best for you, what you're willing to contribute your time into to make that vertical actually do a vertical grow. Um, and I think, that kind of goes in hand with too, is like, it's not, you got to have something to bring to the table. Because if you don't bring anything to the table, you're not going to be able to offer any of these verticals anything. So, you know what I mean? So you can't go and be like, oh, I want to get into a vertical, but you don't have anything to offer. There, no one's going to be like, okay, I can't. So mine has, I used my knowledge at Google and the SEO factors and ranking to kind of be an in to get in with different partners that were in different verticals.
Okay.
So I'd look at different businesses and I'd see the problems that they were having within the ranking factors in Google. Then I would approach them and say, hey, this is how I can help you. I know what to do to bring the sales up. Then I'd have a contract drawn up, like a 99-year contract. So it's pretty much forever, to where now I'm contracted into that company as a partner, because I was learning in my growth that if you don't categorize yourself or make yourself a partner, you're an employee.
Right.
And your conversations as an employee with your boss is a lot different than your conversations with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
So it changes, your posture changes. So I had a business mentor that I begged. He was a multi-billionaire, but I begged him to come teach me. And that was one of the main things, is you've got to posture yourself, because no one's going to take care of you. You can't go into a building and say they're going to take care of you. We're here to take care of ourselves. So the only way I can do that is through contracts, employment contracts that now I have as a partner. And then that I get within every single one of my contracts, I get my son written in as a third partner that goes into his trust, to where now a third of my income goes directly to him. He's 11, but a third of my income goes directly to him. So that by the time he's 18, he'll be set for life. But this is what we have to do in our communities for our kids. We've
Mm-hmm.
got to do this. We have
Yes.
to do this, because if we don't, you send them out into the world that is not friendly and is not there to help them and is not there to try to get them ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
it's our job as parents, business owners, African Americans to teach this, because all of my partners that are of, let's say, Jewish or European, or let's say even from Dubai, their kids are well taken care of. That's just what they do. That's just
Right.
in the family rules. And I don't feel that that's been within our rules. So I'm really trying to change that. And anybody that I get in contact with, to this is how we change this. This is what we do. So that's kind of why I do that with my work now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad we talked about that, because that's important. Our kids, like you said, it's an angry world out there.
Yep.
Don't nobody
100%.
care about nobody.
Nope.
And if you just need to have that. As parents, we need to pave that way.
What, yes, we owe it to our kid. I look at my son every day and it's like, what can I do to be a better dad? What can I do to be a better provider? What can I do to be a better teacher? So I've had him since he's been 8 years old. I have him coming in, looking at the screen, showing him the margins, so that his teachers have told us that he understands decimals way more than any of the other students, but that's just because that's what we deal with in money. We
Right.
don't deal with all this algebra. I deal with reality. And if you have a good margin and it's high, you're going to be a very happy person.
Yes.
It's so I've been teaching him that for years. I bring him in. I'm like, look at what we made. I'm very open. Look at what we made. Look at what we lost, because loss is a part of it. That's what helps you
Right.
grow. So he's been seeing that since for the last 3 to 4 years on a daily basis. I come in and show him and say, and to show him this is how, like, a lot of times I'm in like a bathrobe, because that's like my work uniform.
Right.
So I'll be like, look, this is how easy it is. It's not difficult. I'm not going to an office. I don't have a suit on. Don't think that money is hard to make. It's very easy to make. So I'm trying to instill that into his head, because I think too, I'm seeing with a lot of kids, is they get this blockage, especially these kids I'm dealing with, they get this blockage because they don't know
Right.
anymore. So they think in their head there's a limit, and that was another thing that was taught to me from these meetings, is there's no limit. some of these guys that I'm talking to, they're like multi billions. And to them, that's normal. So there's really just no limit. It's just our mindset and what we put on top of that, what limits us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this has been really a great conversation for
Yes.
sure.
Thank you.
We've talked about everything under the sun
Oh,
today and important stuff, and basic, especially when it comes to kids, I'm just, I think at the end of the day, we must take care of them so they can take care of us when we
right.
can't take care of ourselves. Those circles change.
Yes. Yeah. And as you grow, you learn, as when I was younger, I wasn't the person that I am now. So
Right.
it's, you change, and things change in your life to make you realize certain things and the importance of certain things. And kids are so innocent in the whole situation and just a sponge wanting to soak in whatever they can to make things better. And
Yes.
it's up to us to make that better, or to make it, you can choose to make it worse. I choose to make it better because I've made mistakes in the past, and they weren't the smart, they weren't wise, they weren't smart. So now I've changed all of that to kind of, from what I've learned, so that I can kind of contribute back. And hopefully that then, like I said, each one teach one. Hopefully then that then goes to that person, then that goes to another person, goes to another person. So it becomes a snowball effect.
Absolutely.
Can't say if it will, but that's what I hope for.
And it will, because if you get to one person, you've done a lot right there,
Right. Right.
and they're definitely going to tell somebody.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's going to definitely snowball, exactly what you said. So
Right.
thank you, Ferdinand. I really enjoyed this. I feel like I'm just on my feet all crossed and I'm just really relaxed talking with you. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your wisdom on our show. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Ida. You've been a pleasure to talk to, and the energy is wonderful, that I feel coming from you. So I really appreciate your time, and thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. And also, audience, thank you. So have a great day. Thank you to our guests and you, our valued audience, for stopping by. We truly appreciate you. Many blessings to you and yours.